Hey everybody, at BV Matson here. I've gotten a lot of questions about how I pulled off this kind of custom decal for my Retro Moto gas tank for my CL125S Honda motorcycle from 1974. So the tank was just a little bit different from the original tank, and I wanted to kind of keep some of the original kind of styling, but I had to get a little creative. Here's what the original tank stripe looked like. A really cool classic pinstripe look. I absolutely love that cutout part at the bottom and that top pinstripe. I knew it was going to be a challenge to recreate, but I did make some templates and had every intention of doing so. In a previous video, I had, painstakingly preserved the original decal, and my plan was to recreate that. But if you remember, if you watch the live streams every Thursday night at 7 o'clock Eastern US time, that tank was roached and I had to find an alternative, and Retro Moto had the solution. And here it is, retromoto.com. It was their Champ tank made for 125 Honda motorcycles. And I'm telling you, for $99, this was going to save me so much time. Came with a petcock and the gas cap. Huge win. Once I got the tank, I knew I had to get just a little bit creative. So I kind of want to walk you through my process today of how I did it. In order to do it, you'll need some plastic wrap, some magnets, some paper, just some regular printer paper, a little bit of masking tape, a Sharpie pen, and a little bit of adhesive decal material. This stuff is kind of like a car wrap material called Arlon. We can take a look at that, but I'm pretty sure kind of any flexible decal material in sheets would work for this process. For today's video, I'm just gonna go back to this badly rotted pinholed with an old liner CL125 tank and kind of show you how I mocked it up. I tried to do some brazing on it, some soldering on it to plug up those pinholes. But the more I cleaned, the more I realized that this was going to be a hell of a process. And plus, this old tank liner inside, no bueno on that. So here's kind of how I got that going. The cool thing about this process is that you can get pretty creative. You can do anything that you want, but contours on the tank are really problematic. You can't just draw something out, on a flat piece of paper and transfer that to get something that's actually going to be usable. So I just used some cling wrap, some good old normal in your kitchen probably right now cling wrap to lay over the top of the tank, okay? It's worked out really, really well, actually better than I thought. And all I needed to do was to kind of stretch it into position with a few magnets. So just kind of going around the perimeter, you can kind of pull it nice and tight and just kind of get some of these going on here. For today's demonstration, I think I used probably about half a dozen little magnets to figure out what I wanted to do on the tank. Now I've got a nice flat drawable surface that I could deal with. So I don't want to get super elaborate today, but ultimately, if we wanted to put like a little splash on this tank, like say just a little splash on it, what I might do is I'll rearrange these just a little bit, pull this nice and taut. You can kind of just move your magnet out a little bit and it pulls the material nice and tight. And let's say we just want to do something real simple. We want to put something on here. You can just freehand it on the tank, onto the saran wrap. Let's say I just want to do something real simple, like a little, I don't know. Just be creative, have fun with it. Move this magnet out of the way. And now I can come down here and that'll meet my contour. So I essentially want to make like a little decal for this, all right? If you have a badge that you want to mount, you can of course draw out, where that badge mount goes. So you can cut that out of your template later on. But for today, that's the first step. Really just get the saran wrap working for you. Now we've got a nice contour decal that we can cut out, lay out, and go to the next step, I guess. All right, well, we don't need that tank anymore, so let's just get that out of the way. And I'm just gonna lay this down flat on my surface, and hopefully we can see I mean, you can go kind of dark with your Sharpie. I probably didn't go quite dark enough. But basically, we're just creating a tracing pattern that we can transfer to a little bit more durable material. And then once we get it onto this material, we can really start to kind of go to town on it. All right, having a light background definitely helps on this. So I went and grabbed an old whiteboard I had laying around in the back of the room. And now we can just kind of take our paper, lay this down, and hopefully you can see this, but you can see the design kind of popping through here. I'm going to grab a little bit of masking tape. My paper is not quite big enough for what I'm trying to do today. So I'm just going to lightly tack this into position. All right, and the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tape the edges. I don't want this piece of paper moving on me while I'm drawing on it, so I'm just going to strategically place a couple pieces of tape to keep that in position. And now what I can do is I can lightly, just loosely draw your design. All right, that's coming down through here. I can see it right here. And I can do kind of whatever I want. Let's do something like that. I love the creativity that you can get out of this. So I'm just gonna loosely kind of put this all in together. And then I'm also gonna draw in where that badge mount was, because we may want to cut that out if you're putting a badge on there. But now what we can do is we get our straight edges out and we start making this really, really crisp, really, really clear, so we can transfer that over to our decal material. All right, we're done with the saran wrap. You can toss that in the garbage. Don't need that anymore. But what you're gonna need to do is get yourself a straight edge and start drawing this thing out. Nice crisp lines, keep it nice and tight, and then it's gonna be a piece of cake. I think you kind of see where I'm going with this. All right, just gonna crisp everything up really, really well. Nice dark lines. I want this line to be nice and straight for sure on this bottom edge. You can notice I'm kind of going over the edges just a little bit. And let's make this a nice 90 degree. Again, your creativity is really your biggest limitation, to be quite honest. We'll make this a nice straight, crisp line. Just like that. And now here, it's kind of helpful to have something kind of guide you. So if you've got some curves, on the 125 tank, I actually use an old can to kind of get my angles kind of going right. But yeah, I just kind of used it just to kind of get me going in the right direction. All right. So there I've got a nice straight curve. Wish I had my real straight edge, but then I could carry this line out nice and clean. I could pull this one out, give myself just a little bit of a curve. Let me spin this around so you can see it. Right here, I just want to start making my curve like that. Beautiful. And then just slowly, I just kind of worked my way around the whole thing until I had a really nice, clean template. I'm moving fast. Take your time. All right, there I go. I'm kind of moving fast today, but I just want to give you the general idea of what's going on here. I'm going to tape my two pieces together because this is now going to get cut apart. It's just, what I noticed is that having some tool to help you get the right curve really made a big difference in when you cut this out. And when you cut this out, you can go ahead on this round, you can go ahead and just use some scissors real carefully and go all the way around this thing. I mean, you kind of go back to grade school a little bit, learn your scissor control, and start cutting this. Make sure you stay on whatever side of the black line that you drew. Don't want to go too crazy, but you do want to take your time around these corners, and you want to follow these contours as good as you can. We're not getting super precise yet, all right? But we will be once we start transferring this over to the material, because then we're not using scissors on the material. On the material, we're actually going to be using X-Acto knives and steel rulers to be able to make that work. Then I can just come down here and cut my last little piece just like that. All right, and from here, we're ready to transfer this over to the material. Remember, you only need one template, okay? You need one template. And then for both left and right sides of your tank, you can simply just flip the graphic around and make an opposite. So you only really need to do this once, and you just need to flip it together, flip it around, you'll be fine. So this is an Arlon material. This was sent by one of the Keep On Wrenching members. And man, this stuff worked really, really well. It's like a flexible, let me show you some of this. It's kind of a flexible, you know, car wrap material, and it was really, really forgiving once I wanted to start working with it. This was amazing stuff. Watch the comments in the video. Let's see if we can get some more information on this stuff. So, one thing to remember, don't draw, and I made this mistake myself, don't draw on the front side of the graphic. Draw on the back side of the graphic, okay? And when you lay your template down onto this stuff, make sure you tape it down so it doesn't move. So on the one side, I'm just gonna start doing a little bit of, you know, just stickum tape along this thing to keep it in position, because as we draw this out, we don't want it to move, because as you go through the process, you just need to be a little more specific, I guess would be the word maybe. You just don't want to start laxing on the details. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to see, I got a nice flat edge right here. So I can just use this flat edge on this, lay my piece down just like that. And now use a flat edge whenever possible and start to transfer this all over. And use really clean lines, okay? Use clean lines, use a straight edge whenever possible. I know that, you know, some of these curves, you're gonna have to freehand a little bit, but for the most part, whenever you can, try to use a straight edge to get yourself going in the right direction, or like we use this to get this angle. I'll just go right back to this, line it up, and just make sure that you're being as tight as you possibly can as you start kind of rolling this stuff out. So I actually drew on the paper there, but I need to move that out just a little bit. Nice clean line, and now I'm kind of up over my arc. So now what I can do is get a nice clean line coming from here. I'm just gonna go all the way out. And again, here I think is where I used another little curve. Here, just spin this around. Use my curve just to kind of take care of this, and you're just kind of looking at the intersections of everything that you're doing, just like that. And now I can start to, I should almost freehand some of this, but I'll go ahead, I use this down here, so I'll use this here, get this drawn on there. Got a little messy on me. And now here, you're just gonna have to be careful, eyeball it up. I suppose you could get like a compass, you know, and really start going nuts with it. I found I was able to like keep stuff pretty accurate. And there's our graphic. Now again, you just do this in the reverse for the other side decal. So don't throw this away. You're gonna need this. And you might wanna keep the template, because you might screw it up and you might have to make many, many, many more. All right, now we're ready to start cutting this out, all right? And I'm telling you, resist the urge to use scissors, all right? Scissors are your worst enemy in this situation, okay? I'm going to use a ruler whenever I can, and then honestly, it's just sheer patience. Make sure you're lined up really good. This is your graphic. A really nice sharp knife is gonna be your best friend here. You gotta just take your time, go slow with everything. Make sure it's all lined up. Nice quick marks. I went over. Don't go over like I did just there. I'm gonna remove that material. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna cut my straight length right here. Having a cutting pad, I noticed, was very helpful as well. Kind of score it. You just gotta take your time with this stuff. That's what I noticed. I started rushing it. One time when I tried to do it, I was using scissors, and scissors were total mistake. Now, when you get to the curves, the only way I could do it, honestly, was just to take a deep breath and carefully go. It's already kind of coming there. Beautiful. Nice and clean. Now we got to go through the long one. And this, I mean, you just got to be very careful with it. I think that's the only thing I can tell you. The other thing is, try not to like stop and reposition the material. I'm probably moving 10 times faster than I was when I cut out the decals for the 125 tank. That's just because I'm kind of showing you the process today. Smooth edges, that is the key. Making sure everything is nice and smooth. There's your first little template. Again, you just make another one, just make the reverse. All right, we've got our decal. It's sitting here and it is ready to go onto the tank. You should have a pretty darn accurate representation of what you need. I mean, it should be perfect. Back to the magnets is what I really jumped back into. Don't mind that little mess up there, you guys. Come on. Be kind in the comments. But anyway, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just loosely kind of mark out some positioning lines onto my tank. All right? So we're going to do this. It's just a guide, okay? It's a very general guide. I'm laying it along some of my straight lines. Again, the tank should be painted before you do this stuff. But for today, it's just kind of a tutorial of showing you my process really, really quick. And I just used a bunch of tape. Just made an outline, just a very, very rough outline with some key intersection points that I needed to pay attention to. Like maybe the back edge here. How far back does it go? Take your time when you're aligning this because you want to get it right the first time for sure. So there, I kind of messed that up just a little bit. Let's get that accurate. And then I also want to take this kind of key intersection point here and just give myself a little bit of an alignment marker right there. Now the next thing that really helped, man, this really, really helped. I need to thank Drew from the group. Low heat on a heat gun and my magnets. And what I was able to do, can you see it kind of move just a little bit? It's moving because of the heat. The material's kind of shrinking just a little bit. And I think this actually helped it helps it just be a little bit more malleable so you can actually get it into position. Keep moving. Don't keep your heat in one place. Again, low heat, not high heat. Real calm, cool, collective, and it's going to be okay. But you want it to get like warm, okay? That's the key. You just really want to get it warm. We've got all of our alignment kind of markings ready to go here. I think we're good to go to try and install this. I'm going to hit this just a little bit more, keep it nice and warm. It cools off really, really quick. But then we can kind of start. We can get rid of our magnets. Wipe your hands real good. Yeah, this stuff's nice and warm. Peel your backing. Try not to touch the adhesive. Try to touch the backing only and peel that away from the adhesive. Try not to touch that, okay? And we're going to pull this back just a little bit. And I'm going to work end to end. So I'm going to get this end in position here. Line it up. And I'm going to slowly start to kind of peel this away and get this decal into position. Now, what I liked about this stuff is that it was pretty forgiving, okay? Until you kind of final go for it, you could kind of mess with it a little bit. Working it end to end seemed to work better. This stuff isn't sticking that great today because I don't have paint on it, but I'd encourage you to work your way end to end with the material, okay? It's like this, and if you're laying it down, you're not pushing it down. If you need a little bit of an assist, you need something to go, and grab just a little bit of heat and just kind of massage that in there, and then keep working your way back. Don't just lay it down straight down. Had all kinds of issues when I was trying to do that. You just kind of want to just keep working it here. We can cut this out later for the badge. But these alignment marks really help a lot. The heat also makes it a little bit more forgiving as far as wrinkles and things like that. And again, you want to just take your time. Take your time on this and try to get this laid in as flat as possible. Go back to the heat and try to resist the urge of touching the backside of the adhesive.
It's a process. Be patient.
And there you have it. It's laying down there nice. The material is still warm. It's in place. It's where I want it. Got one little bubble there that I need to work out. But again, just be gentle. Work your way through it. Once you get it in position, you can just go ahead and pull your kind of alignment tape off. And it should be right where you want it. Now, one thing I did notice using this material, give it time to rest, okay? Give it a little bit of time to rest. Like, how cool is that? Like, boom, like that. Like, this is a cruddy drawing. You can take your time. Got the curve really nice up on the front end, but kind of screwed this up again, just a demonstration. But yeah, it's just patience on this part of it. But wait a couple days before you paint it. I would wait probably 3 days before you go and do a clear coat over this. The clear coat on the 125S tank came out absolutely beautiful. You can see here, you know, it laid right in there, and this tank, I mean, I'm so happy with how this came out. But, you know, at the end of the day, that's the process, is just kind of laying that graphic on there. What happened after a day or so is that a couple little air bubbles did pop up, but I was able to kind of heat it a little bit and kind of massage those out. So that's it. Works a hell of a lot better when you're doing it on a painted tank. I absolutely love how this 125S tank came out. But that was the process. That's what I did. There you go. Pretty straightforward. You know, little saran wrap, little tracing paper, a Sharpie, some scissors, an X-Acto knife, a straight edge, some masking tape. That came in real handy. And you can do this. You can get super, super creative depending on how patient you are. And you'll end up with a pretty damn cool looking tank. I hope you found this video useful, inspiring. Maybe you have some ideas. Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. That's huge when you do that. And also check out keeponwrenching.com. Watch videos, check out the resources, and join us for live streams every Thursday night, 7 o'clock on the YouTube channel. All right, 7 o'clock Eastern. And don't forget to join the Facebook group either. All that information is on keeponwrenching.com. Yeah, don't mind this demonstration only, but you're going to end up with something like that. Love it. See you in the next live stream or video.